All right. I don't know if the intro had volume there, but I have volume, so I'm going here. Welcome to Benzinga's pre-market prep, everyone. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, and Dennis Dick. I know the video didn't have sound. I apologize, but I know you can hear me, and I can hear me, so we're good to go. On today's show, it's pretty quiet. It's been a relatively quiet couple of mornings here, a couple of evenings in the after-hours session. We've got a couple of earnings. We're going to talk through the confusing Nikola stuff from yesterday. There's a lot of weirdness going on around Nikola and GM, and we'll do that with our guest. So we're going to bring our guest on early to talk about Nikola. Then he's going to go away for a while. Then he's going to come back at 8:35. Our guest is Brent Slava. We haven't had Brent on our show in a very, very long time. Brent is, of course, the head of Benzinga's Newsdesk. He used to join us very regularly on PreMarket Prep. He hasn't been on our show for a while, so we're going to get Brent on. We're going to talk through the news. He's much better at talking through the news than I am, and so Brent will join us early for the Nikola stuff, and then we're going to see him a little later at 8:35. So we got an exciting show today. Very excited to have Brent on. Before I throw it to Joel, I want to remind you all to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, show us some love in YouTube. We appreciate that. And now, Joel, tell us how we're doing here in the overnight trading session after I unmute you, because you're on mute here. Let's unmute you first. Can we unmute you? There we go. Good morning, Joel.
Joel's still on mute.
Joel's still on mute.
To get himself off mute. Joel, look at the mute button. Look at the mute button in the corner. You've only been on this show for 7 years.
There we go. Good morning, Joel.
Do. This is a volatile puppy.
Yeah, I apologize for the no sound. I was having again. I'm running the show from like multiple computers here at my house. So
Holy.
Anyway, moving on.
We never have technical difficulties anymore. This is like technical difficulty Thursday here.
The good old days.
Start over. Fresh. Here we go. Spencer did his intro. Now we're throwing it to Joel. What's the market look like here overnight, Mr. Elconin?
We got some red. S&P futures follow through on that week close, down 7 1/4 handles at 35.57.75. We're off the pre-market low of 42.50. I have no major daily lows until we get closer to 3,500, but I don't know. I think maybe we'll just bounce around today. Pre-market high 73.75. I wish I could say I had a number up at that level. Let me share my screen here too, and we'll get everything working at once. Crude, well, it's down 20 cents, but it was down more. It was down at 41.26, got a little bit of a rebound. Down 20 cents at 41.81. Gold continues to struggle here, down 13.80 at 18.60.10. Silver joining in the decline. That's down 5 cents at 23.95. And Bitcoin, quiet day. So not really $800 range. That's up $130 at 17,815.
All right, Dennis, what are you seeing this morning?
Looking here, a lot of chop. This has been a choppy session. Seems to be the story here as of late. I mean, there's been a lot of chop, and like we've talked about, the fade trade has worked very well. That continues to work, unless you're fading those little EV stocks, because those just continue to go higher. But, Boeing, a classic example yesterday, where you had the stock and it was rallying like hell on the max, and we were skeptical on this show. I mean, I was like, who's going to buy the planes, and what's the good news? What's the catalyst? I mean, this is really, what trading and identifying is all about. A stock always wants something to look forward to. So when you all of a sudden get all the good news out there, it's like, what's Boeing really got to look forward to now? We have the max approval, and we know there's probably nobody buying the bloody planes. So what you have is, okay, well, now it's way up. Now what? Now what's going to be the next driver? Because we've got the max approval that, we knew we would eventually get, and that would be a catalyst to drive it higher. So all the good news priced in, nothing really to look forward to. The stock opens at its high tick of the day, 223.02. It was higher than that in the pre-market. That was the high tick. So if you shorted that open, you took zero heat, and the stock came in 7 points in the first 7 minutes and just continued to leak all day. So now, you've got to pull back here on Boeing. And if you're so inclined that you got to be in these reopening stocks, you got to think maybe a little bounce at 200, maybe the first time there. But it's a complete reversal from yesterday. So now you have all kinds of people caught. So it's not nearly as simple to just all of a sudden go back up to 220, because you have everybody from yesterday that was buying that news is like, oh man, why am I down this? I don't understand. It was great news. Why did the stock go down? Because all the good news was priced in. The stock went from $160 a week and a half ago up to 223. So yeah, whoever bought it yesterday at the open top ticked it. That was the high. Wasn't there even somebody that upgraded it yesterday and we were like, they're going to top tick this? Was there somebody that upgraded Boeing yesterday?
Was it?
Or was that a different stock?
No, that was not Boeing. That was not Boeing.
That was not
It was
Boeing?
something else. I do remember you saying that.
Yeah, I remember them.
on the
Okay, we got to
show.
figure out which stock that was, because I'm curious which one they were top ticking.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is what the markets are all about.
Oh
It's
yeah, I'm sorry. It was Baird. It was Baird.
It was Boeing.
Yep.
And I said Baird upgrading the stock here now. I believe I said they're probably going to top tick this, and they absolutely did. So, understanding, the catalyst that, was now gone and all completely priced in. That's why you get this whole buy on rumor, sell on news we talk about. Often you'll see a reversal on the actual news because the stock all of a sudden has nothing left to look forward to. So you always want a catalyst, in Tesla. Maybe we should take it over to Tesla, because Tesla has the catalyst. We talked about this. I set it at 450. I think it's going to make new all-time highs. It pulled back, gave you a little pullback down to 440 and blast off zone. And now we are within striking distance. And I'm going to go out on a limb here, which isn't really a very long limb, and say Tesla is going to make a new all-time high today.
What a well-timed upgrade. Or was it an upgrade and price target change, or just a price target raise by?
Are you going back to Boeing?
Yeah, no. For Adam Jonas did this in Tesla yesterday.
Jonas.
Yeah, the Jonas brothers.
What's up, guys?
Brent.
I'm hopping
Brent's
in.
hiding in the background. He just comes right in here.
Just comes in.
The Brentster.
Dennis, I was listening to some super old pre-market prep shows, like from 2014, and I would just sneak in. I would just be like, "What's up, guys?" So that's kind of what I'm doing now.
Brent was the only thing that was good about 2014. Me and Joel were terrible back then. Go back for fun and listen to
Joe
us.
Young. Joe Young was
speak.
pretty good.
Joe Young was always good. Yeah, Joe Young. Joe Young and Brentster made the show. Me and Joel just tried to talk some numbers and stuff, and we get all flustered. We even had to do. Remember, we did that voice coaching, me and Joel, because we were so bad with the girl in Chicago, just to try to speak a little bit better. I'm just a trader. I don't talk. I'm not a talker.
The best was when we first started doing it, and we had to get it on the Thinkers. We piped it into the Thinkorsome platform. Joe used to go into one of the conference rooms and what did he do? You remember?
It was like a piece of Tupperware,
and he held the show up to it was in a different room, and he had to hold it up to a microphone or something.
Wow.
And he put a piece of Tupperware over the headset, so it would oh my gosh. And anyways, I jumped in because your guys' discussion on Boeing and Tesla, and
you got thoughts on all this?
Yeah, I always got thoughts, Dennis. Well, I was just gonna try to take you over to Tesla anyways, but you took it there anyways. Boeing was a classic sell the news moment, right?
Yes.
And we had this cool discrepancy, I think, to check out. We had Boeing, which we knew the 737 MAX was going to be approved at some point. We didn't know when. So when it happened, they sell the news. Tesla, we knew Tesla was going to be joining the S&P 500 at some point, right? And so to me, that was also a classic sell the moment news. Okay, they're going into the S&P 500 now. And look what happened to the stocks. They moved in the exact opposite directions, right?
Because the catalyst is still there, because the event is still coming. And that's the difference, is that the Tesla event is still coming and everybody has it to look forward to now. So it has all the excitement. It was the same as the 5-for-1 split. Even though it was announced, the event was still coming. And that's why Tesla had this wicked 30% run after they announced the split. It just kept running and running and running and running and running. And then the split happened. And then the stock fell a day after that. It wasn't the first day, because they wanted to take the people who thought the sell on news. They wanted to hurt those people too. They sold it off on the second day afterwards. So I would say the same thing here. You have seasonality working in your favor, because everybody loves buying stocks in November and December. And then they're saying a December 21 on the S&P 500 ad. You have that to look forward to. And I don't think they shake this because people, it's such a big ad, and you can talk to these effects too, Brentster. I don't even know. I've been doing, and watching SP ads for a long time. And, you know, obviously when they're asking the public how to do it, because
Right.
it's so big. I mean, this is, you know, uncharted territories, and people are
Gotcha.
going to be talking about this. Everybody's expecting the indexers to just have to buy the boat. So I think Tesla could even run for the next month ahead of this event. I don't think it's going to like $700-800, but could it go another 100 points from here? It absolutely could. Doesn't make sense from a valuation perspective. It hasn't made sense forever, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to worry about valuation on a story stock. If there's a story, the story will carry it. So those people arguing like Einhorn, who is still short the stock and just getting murdered on it, you know, he's been short for years on valuation. Einhorn, valuable lesson. Valuation does not matter when you have a hot story. When the story cools off or goes ice cold, that's when valuation matters. One day, valuation will matter on Tesla, but this story just remains hot. It continues to find catalysts. Elon Musk is so inventive. Think about, you know, he's going to come out with something else. He'll be doing something different again. You know, he just keeps coming with ideas that continue to drive the price, regardless of valuation. So that's the difference, Brentster, is basically the catalyst is still to come, as opposed to, in the Boeing case, the catalyst is like, okay, well, who's buying the planes? And
there you go.
Nobody's buying these planes. All the airlines are in trouble. Nobody's buying those planes. And thus everybody starts thinking like that. It's like, oh, well, even the MAX is approved. It's like, oh, well, you know what? There's a lot of indexers to come in and still buy Tesla. And that's why the story probably remains hot. I would be buying pullbacks if, you know, for trades on Tesla in the foreseeable future. I think the stock goes much higher.
What kind of volatility are we going to see on that December 21st rebalance, Dennis? Like, it could be literally all the way till that day, right?
Well, Brent, it depends how they add it, right? Because if they're going to add it in pieces, if they're going to, because in the release, in the announcement, they were soliciting feedback because they've never added a stock that's this big before.
Yeah.
So whether they add it in pieces and they start the week before, finish the 21st, we don't really know yet. But it'll be like whenever they do it, you have to. That's the days. It'll be reflected on a Monday, right? So the Friday before, where the 21st, so the 18th is going to be like the day when all the shuffling happens for the funds. And if they go the week before, then it'll be the week before that, the 11th. But I don't know. We don't really know how they're going to do it yet. So depending on how they go about adding it, I assume they're going to announce it at some point imminently before the ad date, but we don't really know. So I imagine fireworks either way, but we don't really know how they're adding it yet.
That is so that S&P addition to, I don't know, Dennis, I don't know if you know exactly when that comes out, but like on that Dow Jones S&P indices website, they will announce these changes at 5:15, and you don't know what day they're going to announce them. They could announce.
It's always at 5:15.
It's always at 5:15. I'll
That's
give you
good to know.
I'll give you the URL. I spam it every day. We need to get like some automation running to like just keep hitting that thing each day. But it could happen once a month. It could happen 4 times a month. You don't know which day it's going to be. So just, I guess, a little tip out there for the users. I would expect that the way that it's going to be disseminated, what Spencer's describing, I would expect that is going to be announced on that website at 5:15 at some point in the
Brent,
next month.
Brent,
yeah.
drop that link in here.
Sure.
I'll put it in our chats.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, that's some great insight from Brent Slava right there.
What we wanted to talk about with them? We wanted to talk about the GM and
we didn't get there yet, Joel.
We're
getting there. We're getting there.
Okay.
Brent's dropping knowledge right now, and
the 5:15. I always knew it came out around 5. I didn't know it was exactly 5:15 every single time.
So that's the thing. I don't know if it's a little bit of latency on my side. I've had a couple other guys on the Newsdesk try, and they usually get a range. I usually start like refreshing the page around 5:15, and sometimes I'll refresh it until 5:18. If it's after 5:18 p.m. Eastern time and there's no updates, and I just drop the URL there for you, Spence, then I'm like, okay, we're not going to get a change today.
Do you want to know a cool tool for a refresh that Google has? Do you know the Google Auto Refresh? Do you use that?
I don't think I know it. No, yeah.
Okay, so cool tool. Go just show
That's
this, Spencer. You can find it quickly. Just Google Auto Refresh, and it's a tool you can put on your browser. And it will automatically refresh a page as often as you want.
Is it called Easy Auto Refresh? Auto Refresh Plus?
I think I used to be Google Auto Refresh. I use it lots of times on a static page. Mm-hmm. So cool tool. We're giving everybody a cool tool here today. Google Easy Auto Refresh. I think that's it.
Sweet.
So you can add that to your browser. It's just a Chrome edition. Yeah, there it is. It's
Hit
a Chrome
Control
ad.
R,
You
Control
add it to
R.
Chrome. Show it, Spencer.
I'm pasting Brent's link in chats right now. Can
Just
you
show
want-
the actual easy auto refresh. Like,
All right.
just Google it. Just
Hold on.
open a browser,
Hold on.
show it, go Google easy auto refresh, and you'll see
Yeah.
it. I use it all the time on a static page. So you just got to watch, because sometimes if you use it too much on a page there, you're hitting their server. And sometimes, you
So-
could actually get blocked. So if you hit something just continuously all the time, it's
Wait,
taxing whatever
You know about
company's
that.
server. I know
Wait,
that.
wait,
And they could
Dennis.
actually, I've been blocked. Believe it or not, I've been blocked from a different site before. And I won't say which one. And you won't say which one either, Joel. But I've been blocked for using auto refresh too much. I left it running for like 6 months straight on some site. And then it just like stopped me from seeing the site forever. So,
Wait,
so you
this
gotta
guy?
watch when you just abuse the auto refresh button, because it's hitting some server. We're not gonna say which site it was.
I'm not
I know, I'm
surprised.
not-
Dennis.
I was hitting a website and I kept abusing it. I had it set for 3 seconds, running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for 6 months straight. And I just left it running and I didn't even think about it. The auto refresh was just going. And eventually they just like blocked me from that site because they didn't want me hitting them at 3 o'clock in the morning with the auto refresh. So there's a cool tool for you, though. We're giving out tools here today in pre-market prep. So you can throw that on the S&P. Just don't run it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because they might just actually stop you from seeing that.
And it wasn't the Pentagon. Okay.
It wasn't the Pentagon. It wasn't Trump's Twitter account. Although I have used it on Trump's Twitter account lots of times. So
Not Dennis,
You
you're
gotta
giving away
refresh
all
button.
your tricks, man. Don't give
that's
away
a
all
good
your
trick right there. Look at this is money
It's-
we're giving away.
It's
here,
not a good
folks.
trick anymore,
No,
unfortunately.
now everybody knows. Everybody knows the auto refresh. Those are for static pages. Benzinga Pro is not static. It continuously updates. So you don't need to obviously run auto refresh on Benzinga
Right.
Pro.
Okay, Brent. Brent, why don't you just hang out with us, man?
Just hang out though. Just hang
Yeah.
out with us
Oh
forever.
man,
I-
I got stuff to do today.
He's got to run that news desk.
Okay, I was hoping
It's so quiet. It's so quiet today. The guys
hoping-
are holding it down.
I was hoping, Brent, you could talk us through this GM Nikola stuff, because it was really confusing, and I'm not quite sure I even understand what was happening. So maybe you can walk us through this. There was like a report, there was like a page on GM's website that was updated that wasn't accurate.
So the key with these, and so what I was asking Dennis a little bit earlier is like, let's like expand into these rumors, these kinds of rumors, maybe a little bit more generally after we talk about this one. So the key for these kinds of rumors and the Nikola GM yesterday is the circulation. That's a very deliberate deliberate word that I'm using there. Circulation, it's going around trader communities. We don't maybe care where it starts from, but some trader community out there or a group of traders started circulating this information among communities, and it was a URL. I might even be able to pull it up here really quick. It was a URL to the GM website.
I have it here.
It was like on GM's main investor relations page. It was along the banner at the top that like scrolls through stuff, and it said our future vision for EV, basically. And if you scroll down a little bit, there was a comment in that page that said GM signed a deal with Nikola, signed, keyword there in quote, and this got passed around, and this is what's moving the stock. This is a new piece of information, is what that community alleged. And so the stock started rallying. If you pull up you got it up there. Oh yeah, pull up Nikola there, Spence.
I'll pull it up.
I got it. I got it up there.
I don't know if that. I actually pulled up that URL from Benzinga Pro, and I don't know if that was a new.
So there you go, Dennis.
They started circulating it that look, it's on the site now, but it could have been on the site weeks ago, and it wasn't like a specific article to Nikola. I was just showing Nikola technology on the GM site, and then they started circulating it that look, they must have signed the deal because look, it's on the site.
We signed the deal. So when this kind of stuff happens, I like this kind of stuff because I get to like put on my real life reporter hat, and like right when this happened, and we're like looking at this, and we're like, well, there's no timestamp on this.
No.
Do we know when this is?
Yep.
And a little trick that I like to do is, if a piece of content doesn't have a timestamp, I'll copy paste it, Google it, and usually Google will give you a pretty accurate index. It was 5 hours ago. It was 5 days ago. It was 5 years ago, whatever it was.
Oh, cool.
Couldn't do that for this here. It wouldn't give me the index on Google. So we're like, wasn't this was already out before? So right then I like jump on the phone and I call GM, and I'm like, I call the GM investor relations and say, it's Benzinga. Do you guys know what's going on with this website? People are circulating it. Investors are circulating it, and it looks like it's moving Nikola. Do you know if anything got updated on the media/investor relations site? And I talked with someone at GM, and she was like, I don't think anything's been updated. I was like, okay, let me send you some information that we're seeing. Get back to me, as soon as you can, kind of thing. As I'm waiting for the response, we see a Bloomberg headline that says Nikola says no change in their relationship. No change in their relationship with GM. Somebody from GM gets back to me shortly after. She confirms, and another guy from GM confirms no change in their relationship from Nikola. And so we reported the comment from GM at about 10:30 or so, and you can see there was a little bit of a sell-off, but kind of more likely it really was just Nikola like trading in this range between like 24 and 25, if you ask me. And then so the key here is Nikola shares closed the session higher, or whatever it was, 20% higher.
Yeah.
So despite what seemed to be a pretty clear rebuke of what initially got the stock moving, it didn't. Traders didn't care.
They didn't sell it back off.
They didn't sell it back off, and so that's where I'm kind of like, maybe we can shift into how do these kinds of things happen, like kind of a bigger picture discussion of how do these kind of things happen. I mean, Dennis, why didn't it sell off after a couple sources rebuked the information?
And it did have an initial, so it ran up to 26, and then it did sell back off into the 23 handle, but the spike was already happened. You had shorts now spooked on this. What's the short interest on Nikola?
Dennis, we're going to have a race.
That's a race. Or we used to do this. Me and Brent used to always race. I race Spencer now. But anyways, a race to see the short interest in Nikola, because this headline would spook shorts. So now you have a little bit of a short squeeze going too.
The short interest data on stocks like Nikola isn't always available.
Right.
I have 11. I don't know how updated that is. It's a hard thing to grab. I don't know what you have, Brentster.
I can't believe it's only 11%.
I would think it's higher than that. If somebody else has it too, they can move around. It's obviously these short interest numbers are not static. They're constantly moving. I mean, as people short the stock, so it's a matter of how quickly updated it is. And I've said before, it's confusing to a certain extent, because if a market maker is out there and they're actually long the stock, but they have other orders out there to short the stock higher, they have to actually market short their sale, which can throw out those numbers too. So those numbers are not perfect. 30.9, some people are saying on FinViz, 30. So I think I would go with those numbers.
Yeah.
I was shocked. Like, I think that number I just grabbed there, I think is wrong. So 11, 22. So you get a lot of different numbers. Anyways, it's significant enough that there's probably some people that all of a sudden, okay, well, is there some root truth to this? But let's take it back.
How come they don't reload their shorts, Dennis? That we've identified what's going on with the spike there. I think we know that there was the circulation. We know there probably was a little bit of a squeeze happening. When these rebuttals come out, why don't you think the shorts reload?
They're scared of the Robinhood crowd. They're scared. And I actually talked to a reporter 2 days ago about this. It doesn't matter. Your quantitative analysis doesn't matter at all if Robinhood gets a hold of your stock. Because Robinhood, look at Kodak. KODK is the best example of this. If the story gets hot, Robinhood will drive price unbelievably. And, we saw Kodak, which was ridiculous, go from $6 to $60. Obviously, it's come all the way back down to $7 3 months later. But this is what you're scared of if you're a short. And I'm going to tell you another thing, because I looked at this, and just coincidentally, I actually bought this stock yesterday morning in my long-term account. Why did I buy Nikola? I bought it at 22.10. And why did I buy it? Because it was the only EV stock that hadn't went yet. And I was like, you know what? This is a sleepy stock here. It's got a decent short interest, and all the other EV stories are spiking. So I got lucky. Just coincidentally, 2 hours later, a headline breaks that that potentially got a deal with GM. So that was luck. But I'm still long the stock. I've sold half of it because it had a pretty good spike. But I'm still long half of it. And I mean, this is a story. It's a stock that a story can carry it for a while. So for Robinhood traders, get a hold of something like this. This story can get hot, and Robinhood is hungry for EV. Anything EV is just hot. And Nikola was a sleepy stock, that hadn't had the rally of the other EV stocks, probably because it's had so much bad press. People have forgotten about it. But it was kind of predictable that eventually this story would get hot again. And that's why I came on and bought Nikola. I was going to talk about my buy on Nikola the next day there, just to say, hey, I got a new one. This one hasn't moved yet, but obviously it's already moved. So
we're not hating on Robinhood here. I just want to get this. This is just what Dennis is pointing out is just market dynamic. Yeah, market dynamics and market factors. So don't look at it that way. Just real quick, I just want to get in that what Brent did there with GM in researching the story. I mean, I haven't been in the office in a long time, so I haven't been able to see his process, but what Brent is taking in so much information for so many different sources, and it's his responsibility to find out if this is legitimate information. It's very hard to do because people are putting this news out, want it out. They wanted it to be picked up. They wanted to move their positions in their favor. And that kind of hands-on, to be able to pick up the phone and talk to Mary Barra like that. I mean, that is just incredible, Brent, that you could do some little tongue in cheek there. You guys didn't catch that. But no, I mean, that's the kind of things you got. So I just want to compliment you for that. Cause I look at that, the information flow, and that's a hard thing to do, but,
and it might not even be nefarious. Like it's not like you might have some activities out there that traders are intentionally, long their stock and they're trying to get it going. But I think it's more just the buzz. People are talking, and somebody probably came across that on the website, and it's saying, hey, look, Nikola's stuff is up there, and then it goes like, oh, Nikola, oh, GM Nikola deal must be, people are putting the pieces together just like you might, Brent, from behind the scenes, and they might put it together incorrectly. Like you go to the source then and say, okay, well, let's give GM a call. Other traders aren't doing that. They're just assuming, hey, Nikola's on the GM website. They must have approved this deal. It must be fully through, and here we go. So, rumors can really start, into something. And obviously, and this is just a story that wanted to get hot. It wanted a catalyst, and it got that catalyst yesterday. So because the catalyst gets, refuted, doesn't necessarily mean that the stock cools off, because this was a story that wanted to get hot. Like I said, I bought this stock prior to this for the simple reason is that I kind of thought
it was looking
a story that could get
the
hot.
other day.
It was sleepy.
It really was. It really
and
was.
you know why else is like Jim Cramer had actually, mentioned it the day before to Faber about Nikola, and I was like, oh, if Cramer starts getting on board on this, I'm gonna, this could actually move it too. He actually talked it last night too as a hydrogen play. So I mean, there you go. So full disclosure, I'm still long Nikola. I'm hoping to get up to $30 on it, and I'll probably sell it. I had it on just because all the other EV stocks been running. What I mean, like every single EV stock, Brentster, you can look through them like Fisker, Solo, KNDI, NEO obviously started it all. Well, Tesla started it all, but NEO was the second, one that really started going. But you go through all these Helion, actually HYLN. So here's one for you that hasn't totally went yet. I don't know, obviously I'm not saying stick these in your long-term accounts, but if you think that the EV story, I just brought this chart up, here's one that actually hasn't went that far yet, HYLN. I mean, we saw the ridiculous moves in KNDI, the ridiculous moves in SOLO, the ridiculous move really in Fisker even too, from $8 to 17 in a week and a half. What other ones, Brentster? You follow this trade pretty good too. What other EV plays do you like out there?
One sec, Dennis. One sec, Dennis. There was.
Oh, he's got news.
There was just some jobless claims data coming out. Let's see here.
We'll throw it to Spencer. Spencer, give me some more EV names.
Well, you just named a bunch of them.
Yeah, Dennis.
Ride. What about Ride?
So
the chat's on them.
Ride, Fisker, Electromechanica, which is Solo, of course, Tesla, NEO. There's the rest of the Chinese names like KNDI and LI and XPEV. You've got a new one here that Dennis, yesterday, a new SPAC merger. FIII is the ticker, and they're merging with some battery company. I'm not even sure, but all you need to know is FIII is a SPAC that is now emerging with another
SPAC attack
electric vehicle company. So jobless claims are just out. Brad, I don't know if you wanted to give those, but
sure. So a little higher than expected. 742,000 versus 707,000 expectation from economists. Reminder that this is a weekly data point, so that was 742,000 jobless claims over not the last week, but that was the period ended Friday the 13th. So
All right. Getting some interference on your mic, Brent, so I'm going to mute you for a second. All right, yeah. Well, what else did I think I named most of the EV plays that. I mean, there are more that I'm missing, I'm sure. And the chat's got them. Fuel cell, workhorse, we missed.
Well, we were all. Mitch was all over work. This
Right,
chat has been all over
I'm saying.
workhorse forever.
Right. Blink. Thank you, Dr. Dre Day.
So
Blink.
many.
Yeah, there's so many.
There's dozens of these things, but you look at your charts and the ones that haven't went yet. That's what I was doing on Nikola. A couple days ago, I was looking at. I'm like, what hasn't went? And I was like, you know what? Storied stock that everybody talked about 6 months ago and is sleepy. It's just sitting there and hasn't went yet is Nikola. And then once Kramer had said it to Faber, what Kramer said to Faber, and sometimes you just get an idea. Oh, Kramer might talk this. Is Faber had just said something to Faber in passing about Nikola, and Kramer said, "Oh, that's tomorrow." So I'm like, "Oh, he's going to talk about this tomorrow," and he did. He talked about it last night on Mad Money. He talked of it as a hydrogen play. So along with Plug Power, he really plugged Plug. He plugs Plug every day. Pun fully intended. But again, he's Kramer can move stock. So I was like, oh, if Kramer's going to talk Nikola, that could kickstart it. Well, it didn't need Kramer to kickstart it because the rumor mill kickstarted it. And I just got lucky to be long it because I thought Kramer was going to talk about it. But sometimes luck works in trading as well. The setup was there though. I don't just necessarily just buy something because Kramer's going to talk about it. I want to buy something that needs a catalyst. It needed a catalyst. I thought it was going to be Jim Cramer was going to be the catalyst, and it ended up being rumors that this GM deal was finalized. So, anyways, you got to look. Stocks want something to look forward to. We all want something to look forward to. My wife says, I want a vacation to look forward to, but we're stuck in COVID and we can't do that. So we all want something to look forward to, and stocks are no different. They want something to look forward to, and if they don't have anything to look forward to, they usually go down. You need a catalyst to kickstart stocks. The reopening stocks are looking forward to the potential of a vaccine. The tech stocks, some of them are looking forward to the potential that the vaccine might get delayed. And, maybe, these stay-at-home stocks like Peloton and Zoom, what they're trying to look forward to is, hey, there might be another couple years of COVID, where it might not go away. So all stocks want something to look forward to. And if you're in a stock that doesn't have something to look forward to, you're probably in the wrong stock.
Yep.
All right. S&P sold off just a tad there on that number. We came back. We're just hanging out at mid-range here, down 7.5 handles. Pretty quiet pre-market session though, as we headed to the 9:30 a.m. opening. Do you want to do some more Brentster? We want to.
Yeah, well, Brent, come hang out with us, but I want to make sure his mic works. But I want to do some earnings as well. We haven't covered.
Check.
Yeah, we got you.
Check.
Brent.
We got you.
Cool.
We got you.
All right, I want to cover Nvidia as my Thinkorswim program crashes, but that's okay. Nvidia had earnings last night. I'll read you those numbers here. The Q3 adjusted EPS, $2.91. That was a very nice beat on a $2.57 estimate. Sales also beat nicely, 4.73 versus $4.41 billion. They gave Q4 sales guidance that was also above estimates. So good earnings, good guidance. What does that add up to? Not a great morning.
It adds up to straddle buyers getting whacked on this one, huh, Dennis? Look at this thing.
I don't know. I'm not allowed to talk anymore because 5 people in the chat just told me to shut up. So I'm just going to sit here silently for the next 25 minutes and not talk. So
listeners, be nice to Dennis.
See, yeah, hey.
Okay,
one,
if we're going to let the chat decide. One, I keep talking. 2, I quit and leave right now. If you want me to leave, if it's more 2s than 1s, I'm going to go trade. Because you know what? I can make more money going and trading than talking to you guys.
Man.
Don't
so
Dennis.
Chat. Don't
one. Okay, so one. I think one's supposed to be for me to leave, but I don't know. I got confused on it on myself too. So, anyways, it's cool. I guess they want me to stay. So, Whiskey wanted me to leave. Sorry to disappoint Whiskey. I guess
they can leave.
That's fine. Everybody gets entitled to their opinion.
If you don't like our content, you don't have to listen to our show. I mean, that's just it. This is the way it is. So
let's just say that Whiskey's on a timeout.
Yeah, Whiskey's going to timeout. All right, moving on.
You know what? I'm done. I don't need this set.
What?
All right, let's go.
Did he leave? Joel's getting up. He took his headset off.
Oh my God, you people are crazy. All right.
Okay, we're back. Joel, you're back.
Okay,
Joel's on
he can't hear you. He can't hear you.
I don't actually know where Joel is right now.
Joel's on a timeout too.
You guys upset Joel.
Can we talk Nvidia real fast here?
Yes.
I'm trying to
I
keep
wasn't
the train,
Joel supposed to leave. I was gonna leave.
I'm trying to keep the trains on the track. all right? The train on the track.
Keep us together, Spence. That's what Dennis says. Keep
I'm
us together.
trying. I'm trying. All right, Nvidia.
Did you give the guidance, Spence?
Yeah, the guidance was good. The earnings were good. I don't quite know.
I mean, how much was the stock up this year? 400%, 300%?
Yeah, I mean it's substantial.
What happens with a lot of these kind of reactions is I'll see traders saying like, oh, why is it selling off? And I'm like, you didn't talk to me when the stock was up 200% over the last 2 months. Why weren't you interested in why the stock was up then?
Yeah. Dennis, what do you?
We're all silent. Me and Joel went silent. Joel left.
I
Joel got
don't know
ticked
where.
off.
I don't know where
Joel
Joel
mic
is.
drop.
I don't know.
Actually,
where
I think
is.
he's just kidding. He's gonna be back in a minute.
I don't
So-
know.
Okay, let's go to Nvidia. We'll talk. So my thoughts here are just simple. But too much good news has been priced into the stock, like you were saying, Brentster. I mean, here's a stock that has run from $200 to $533. So it needs a little cooling off period. Is the Nvidia story over? Hell no. I think Nvidia is probably much higher when we look at it a year or two from now because it's a storied stock that continues to find catalysts, continues to find reasons to go higher. But at this time we look at it and it's time to cool off a bit. But even after hours, even if we look at the after hours chart, Joel was here, he'd be showing us the after hours
I'll
chart.
pull
right
up here.
now.
I'll pull up my Thinkorswim. Give me 5 seconds to pull up my Thinkorswim. There we go. Okay. There's my Thinkorswim.
We've already bought the dip. The stock was down over 25 points last night. It's only down $4 here now. So you could come in and say, oh, Nvidia, I said it was down 20 points last night. The low was 518. So I'm looking at there. So 19 points. The dip's already been bought.
Yeah.
On good stocks, they buy the dips quickly. And you had a dip right after the call, and obviously, it's back here now. So it's bounced back. It's down 4 points only Nvidia, but I mean the dip has already been bought.
Yeah, and
We're lost without Joel. Look
I-
how tough this show got without
I
Joel. now.
kind of am.
We just need him there for a presence.
I know. I'm texting him right now. I'm
I don't
saying,
actually know
Joel,
where
please
he-
come back.
don't know
I
where
think
he went.
Joel would probably highlight the 518 low, right? I mean that right
for
on the
sure,
kisser
that's
there,
gonna be.
518.
I just said, Joel, please come back.
Joel,
I'm
we
sure he's
miss you.
listening.
Whiskey was.
I didn't
just
know what
joking.
Joel got mad about. I was the
J-
one that was mad.
J-
Rubbed
Joel-
off on him.
If Joel were here, he may also highlight 50% move, which we were long since passed. I think at least in the after hour session, 50% back from the low. But
It's already bounced. We've already had the bounce in
Yep.
Nvidia. The dip got bought. Remember, AMD moves along with it here. You know what stock has been sleepy and wants a catalyst is AMD. I'm long it through the call spread. This is a stock that's just sitting here. It wants a catalyst. I don't know what that's going to be, but it seems like Lisa Su will find a catalyst to give us. Whether it be obviously she's done a big acquisition, which the stock got hammered on. But I feel like this is a stock that wants a catalyst too. So Nvidia probably is the same boat. It needs something to look forward to. It doesn't have the earnings to look forward to now, so it's going to cool off for a few days. But these stocks have so many headlines. They sign deals. They do different things. Eventually, whether it's Bitcoin, and you know what? Probably is going to be Bitcoin. The next AMD Nvidia catalyst is probably going to be Bitcoin breaking out through 20,000, making new all-time highs. It gets pressed, and then it's going to be like, okay, what stocks benefit from Bitcoin 20,000? And people think about AMD and Nvidia very quickly. So I think if you're bullish Bitcoin, I think you can't be short AMD or Nvidia. And I'm bullish Bitcoin.
You know what's kind of unique about AMD is they announce chip updates and new chips often, and the stock doesn't move. But when you get news that they're going to delay or Intel is going to move up their chip, the stock reacts heavily. So I don't quite know how that always works, but that always seems to be the case where we hear a delay and the stock gets cranked, or Intel is going to delay and AMD goes way higher. But when we hear these new chips are coming, traders don't care.
What do you think of Intel here, Brent? This is a stock that trades like at 6 or 7 or 8 times earnings, and you got Nvidia trading 40 times earnings or more, and AMD trading, way higher than that. Obviously, a premium put into AMD and Nvidia. And Intel used to be, like, if you're Intel execs, you must wonder, you used to be Intel inside. It was all about Intel. We have the best chips. And it's like they are totally forgotten now. It's like we're never going to use Intel chips again. The Amber Alert can be is now off for Joel. We have found Joel here once again.
The Amber
He is
Alert.
back. I know somebody in the chat gave an Amber Alert for Joel.
Missing
Joel, you left
man.
for 5 minutes in the chat and everybody fell apart. We couldn't even handle it. We didn't know what we were doing.
Well, Dennis said, please come back. Dennis never says please.
I did. I texted him and said, Joel, please come back.
And
We're
Spencer
lost without
said,
you.
so I couldn't. No. Okay.
I was trying to
all right.
technical levels, and I'm like, I'm not a technical analyst. I don't even know what to do with this.
Okay.
I was like, I don't even like charts. I just look for the overall sleepiness.
Where are we at now? What are we talking about, Spencer? I could take. I could drive.
We moved
now.
from Nvidia to AMD to Intel. I've been talking for 5 minutes, and Whiskey, if he's back in the chat's going to yell at me. So go. We want to know what I want to think. What Brent first? I asked to Brent. What do you think of Intel?
Well, so how long have we known that Apple was going to announce the M1 chip? That would be a question I would ask.
I don't know, 6 months, maybe more.
Well, so how much? Yeah, I mean, Intel's been selling off for a good 6 months or so. I mean, when you asked me, Dennis, that was the first thing that came to my mind was that Intel's getting replaced by other chips elsewhere in the industry.
So you look here, though. I mean, you could argue the same thing with that could be a negative catalyst for AMD and Nvidia, could it not? Or it's more because Intel's in the Max that
I think it's dead money. I mean, really. I mean, there's so many other stocks out there to buy. I mean, if you want to buy it, it's got monthly support, great monthly support going back to 2018. But if you think about it, if the stock's where it was in 2018. Do you really want to own it now? I mean, if you have it for a trade or something, you have some kind of technical thing, but it's dead money. What's the catalyst going to be, right?
What you know what? And Dap Dune in the chat bringing up a good point here. What about their Mobileye acquisition? I mean, they did this. We don't hear anything about Mobileye now, but I mean, this is the future of autonomous driving, is it not? Is Mobileye? I mean, is there another industry leader besides Mobileye? Because obviously, Intel made this big purchase, but we don't hear anything about Mobileye. Yeah. And if Mobileye was its own stock right now in this environment, Brent, you could probably attest to this. If Mobileye was still listed with the craze in autonomous driving EV, would it not just be blasting off into orbit, the stock of Mobileye? But because it's an Intel, there's no love for it whatsoever. I mean, how much is Mobileye worth to Intel? It's got to be worth some money.
The last thing that we heard about Intel, about Mobileye was back in July, they were doing a deal with Ford for camera-based collision avoidance in Ford vehicles globally. That's literally the last thing that I've heard about Mobileye. Yeah,
I forgot.
Maybe they're shifting gears. Maybe they're shifting. That's what I'm, talking about. Is there a new catalyst? If they're shifting gears, what if they come out and announce something big with Ford or GM or Tesla? Then this is just rumor. I mean, I'm not saying this is happening, but maybe they're shifting gears. Maybe they've gotten beat out by these other companies, and maybe they're restructuring to go after that market. But I mean, you're on support. What else can I say? It's on monthly support going back to 2018. Is it, going to go to 35 on you? Yeah, it could. But I don't know. It's let's see if that's a potential. That's a good point, though, Dennis. And that's exactly what I was alluding to.
Well, that came from our chat, Daptoon. Yeah, that was a chat. And I was like, that's a good point. When you think about Mobileye.
See, the chat can be very productive when they want to be.
That 99% of the chat is productive. We just get the 1% that likes to just yell at us. And you know what? It's fine. We get it. We'll allow Whiskey back in. He's not going to be gone forever. He just wanted a timeout because it was multiple. So Mitch, you can allow Whiskey back in. He can come back in.
I can't even keep up with it anymore.
He was really yelling at. He was really angry. I know. You know what? I need that every once in a while. My wife yells at me for it too. Talking over everybody and getting all excited. And my wife used to have this little thing. She'd poke me. When I'm talking too much, she'd poke me. I'd be at the dinner table. She'd poke me under the table. She'd be like, "Stop talking. Just stop talking. Stop talking."
Oh yeah.
So it's not just about stocks. I just talk about everything. I just talk.
Well, when we used to go out with dinner with friends, Lisa used to kick me under the table or something if I started.
Maybe that's just the wife.
Well, we don't go out to dinner with friends anymore, so whatever.
We don't go out for dinner. So you don't have to worry about getting kicked. My shins never felt so good.
What stock? Let's go to another stock.
All right. Well, you talking about dead money, and the thing about stocks that can be considered dead money is that can change, right? And has that changed here in L Brands this morning?
Oh yeah, Dennis. Did you go
Holy
into my
mackerel.
account and sell this for me?
You're a genius, Joel. I'm telling you, Joel's got to be the best long-term investor.
Yeah.
He's better than Buffett.
Oh
He's
yeah.
better than Portnoy.
Oh,
Joel, look at his long-term
Don't-
portfolio. He buys L brands of all stocks. Why would you ever want
Yeah,
to own L
why'd you
brands? Who
wanna
the
buy
hell
that
wears
one?
lingerie anymore? Anyways, it just keeps going up. The stock just keeps on going. He's got Peloton. He's got L brands. He's got Tesla. Every single stock you've got is like the best stock in the S&P.
and I got most. Of
I
the
just
S&P,
gotta start looking. Show your portfolio. We just gotta buy all Joel stocks because those stocks just win.
Anyway,
You know
I
what?
wanna
We
sell
know the
this,
mastermind behind it too.
Lisa.
It's Lisa.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
Lisa.
It's so funny
Definitely
though,
Lisa.
because like I know like I have like this bearish tint on the show, and I love bear markets and down markets, but like whenever the markets are going crazy, I like my buddies are like, what do you think? And I'm like, just stay long. The market always goes up. And they're like,
Stocks
oh,
only go up.
what about the election and this, that, and the other thing? Should I sell my Microsoft? I'm like, I don't know. Don't sell here. Wait. I always say like, wait a week. Wait a month. And then
wait a week forever. Just wait a week forever.
Just wait. I'm not gonna make a call there. But anyways, L Brands, I really wanted to sell it before the report, but Lisa won't let me sell. So
The sell button was ripped
I don't
off your
know.
computer.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about that. The only thing when stocks get in this kind of stratosphere and they do these kinds of things, then I just say, okay, well, maybe it was overvalued at 100, right? And maybe it was undervalued at like $7, So you're nowhere near a 50% retracement yet. And I'm even off on the 100. So I don't know if it gets 50. I don't know. Let's look at the pre-market high. We're short term. Let's talk short term. I don't know. Can it hold out the $6 gains? If it holds 39, yes. There's got to be a pile of stock at 40 since we haven't been at 40 like in 100 years in this thing. We haven't been at over 40 since March of 2018. Keep an eye on the pre-market high and see if there's any paper at 40.
And where else did I want to go? There's a couple more earnings.
Macy's.
Yeah. Okay.
The opposite of L brands.
Mitch and I were talking about Macy's yesterday offline, and we agreed. I said that back in March, if you had asked me, I would have told you Macy's is dead. They're done. There's no way.
Before
Macy's,
COVID, we thought they were done.
Before COVID, I thought there's no way Macy's gets out of this. The report this morning, the numbers were what they were. They beat on the EPS. They beat on their sales. I have not looked at the charts this morning, but I'm amazed that Macy's has kind of gotten this far, to be honest. All right, it's at 852. I'm amazed that Macy's has held on for as long as it has, honestly.
You're seeing the reopening stocks get bought on the earnings dips, though. Kohl's was the classic example. It came out with earnings, had the big spike in the vaccine news, and then it came out with earnings, and they actually hit the stock initially, and then they just turned around and started buying it here. So I just be cautious getting bearish on Macy's here because we have this whole buzz going around reopening stocks now. This is a pullback. It's somebody in the chat said they would take Kohl's over Macy's. Me too. I would take Kohl's over Macy's twice, every day of the week and twice on Sunday. But I wouldn't be fully bearish here, Macy's, for the simple reason is that this reopening trade, this buzz around the vaccines has really got, a lot of these stocks, trading hotter. So if I was short Macy's, I would cover it. I don't think I got the guts to go long it because of the story you just told. And, obviously I still think this is a long ways to really turn this company around. It was obviously down and out before COVID happened. But it's the kind of stock that could get carried if the reopening trade, starts to continue to have wind in the sails.
Go ahead, Brentster. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and Dennis, what you're highlighting is super important because the specific commentary that Macy's was given on their call wasn't pessimistic. They were relatively optimistic, I thought, with a lot of their commentary, but it doesn't really matter. What you're highlighting is a much bigger picture theme, right? That's what's driving stocks, these retail stocks, these reopened stocks right now. It's not even really the specific stories about Macy's itself or Kohl's itself. It's something much bigger, I think, right now.
That's for all the stocks. There's certain environments where micro, the individual company effects have a stronger effect, but on the big names, right now, aside from the story stocks like Tesla and the EV trade and stuff, on overall,
Right.
tech versus value, this is the theme that is driving stocks every single day. It's like, okay, well, the virus, they're watching numbers and they're hitting the reopening stocks because, we got Chicago talking about lockdown, and then positive vaccine news comes out and that trade completely reverses. It's being driven by, big headlines revolving around COVID. So COVID is a driver for all of this stuff. And, we don't know what the next headline is going to be. I mean, if, we get, talks of more lockdowns, the reopening stocks take a hits on that. If we get more positive vaccine data, the reopening stocks rip higher on that. So, it's impossible to know what the next headline is going to be, but it's also important to know what, if you're buying a stock, what's affecting it outside the individual company effects. And I think, that's why Kohl's ripped higher after the earnings that weren't even that great. But it ripped higher because there's shorts that want to get the hell out of this now. And they're looking at this as like, okay, well, Kohl's is one of the better retailers if we pull out of this. And, if we're going to go full reopening, I'm going to buy this dip that this earnings report is giving me. And it was quickly bought.
Yeah, I'll throw out the high, throw out the low there in Macy's. I see it trading down 47 cents. The close is going to be very important for this today. If it gets back above that close at 8.99, a high of 9.26. So I think after that dip, you might see some paper ganging up at 9. So I like the close there. We are through yesterday's low, so I'm going to split the lows from Monday and Tuesday, and call it 760. I think you find buyers in that area too. So keep an eye on the close, and then decent support would be 750, 760 area of two lows.
7 minutes left here. Can we do some chat ticker time from the chat?
You know what? Before we do that, I want to ask Brent a question.
Yo.
Okay, so Brent, the last time I saw you was in the office, and I believe it was the last Friday in February, right?
Yeah.
And you pulled me aside. We have our talks about the markets and stuff, and you said, "Man, the news flow is different." You said, we're seeing the COVID, we're seeing this stuff, but you said, it's different this time. It really, you were concerned. And I was like, and Dennis and I, we had been talking about this before, and we had talked about it on the show and stuff. And I came home that night and I spoke to Lisa, my wife's a physician, and she said, "You know what? You're not going downtown anymore, and that was the last time." And your perception, the way that you said that to me, I was like, holy mackerel, blank is going to hit the fan. And that's just because you're looking at the news flow, you're looking at everything that's coming in, and that was your instinct. So now I want to ask you, what's your instinct now? I mean, you're seeing the news flow. This is almost the end of November. And you gave me that signal at the end of February. So, looking at it now objectively, and you're not giving investment advice, obviously, but in that pit of your stomach, what are you feeling now?
Well, so I think I had said that to you, Joel, because it was the pace. The pace of news had changed. I've been doing this news thing for a long time, and there's usually a pretty flat pace of news. There's seasonality, there's earnings season, etc. And when it was the end of February going into March, I mean, every headline was about some kind of coronavirus development. This person has it, or this city has it, and it's an outbreak. And so that was, I think, why I gave you that back in February, Joel. I think now, I mean, I saw a headline yesterday. It was a Fed official, Barkin is the guy's name. He is I can't remember which Fed region he is, but he was saying there's a hope that everybody could be vaccinated in the United States, everybody, quote, everybody, by the end of summer. And it's like, well, what does that Fed official really know about a vaccine? I don't know. He probably doesn't know a ton about what, a vaccine, but it's the tone. I think I feel like there is a little bit of hope out there right now that, we do have an end in sight. And when it was the end of February, the market's vision was 2 weeks ahead of it. literally a week or two. I was going into each week, getting ready to report the news, and I was like, I just need to get to end of this week, because that's how far the market's looking out. The market was so cloudy as far as awareness was, the path forward, and we do have a path forward now. We know that
Good.
we do know that it is a vaccine. That goal of the path hasn't changed. It's always been, we need a vaccine, but there is starting to get into the market, I think, a lot more optimism that maybe by the end of next summer there will be some normalcy again.
Okay. I mean, that's what the market's pricing in. So, great. All right. Well, will it be in time for us to go to Mudgie's for the Lobster Fest?
Oh my gosh, Joel.
We missed the
hope so.
Lobster Fest.
I had Mudgie's a couple weekends ago, actually. They have a nice little outdoor setup. You can get your to-go stuff. So
Okay.
maybe
All
it
right.
won't be back to normal, Joel, but maybe we can go get some carry out and go sit in a park somewhere or something.
We missed it this year. I know you wanted me to come down, but the
Yeah,
quarantine was on. But
Yeah.
all right, Brentster, we're gonna go do a few tickers here. Thanks for coming on. We're
Awesome,
gonna have
guys.
to talk off air and figure out how to do this.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, guys. Later.
Hey, Brent,
Thanks,
we'll have to get your new headset or mic while we're at it.
Yeah, sorry
We
about
will.
that, guys.
That was Brent Slava. He's the head of Benzinga Newsdesk. I want to do some tickers from the chat real fast. A couple people asked about why. This was a target of Muddy Waters yesterday.
Man.
They
What a
are
story.
out. Not Muddy Waters. The company Joy is out this morning refuting the report, saying that they are open to having cash verifications. Muddy Waters claims were basically that YY, which is essentially the Twitch of China, it was falsifying the streaming revenue, the revenue that streamers can make on their platform, and that it was all run by bots essentially. The company Joy is saying we are open to cash verification, and we were willing to show you and prove to you that you're wrong. So that statement was out this morning from the company, and YY is making some gains back here.
I mean, you look at this, and obviously, from the Muddy Waters report, but the allegations were so significant to a point. I'm trying to find it here. They were saying something over 80% of the revenue they believed was fraudulent. So This was just a crazy
90% is what it said.
90% of the revenue they were saying was fraudulent. So they're basically saying this company is just a fraud. It's one thing to say, and sometimes Citron or Muddy Waters comes out with the company, and they say something, there's some counting stuff going on here. But when you're saying 90% of the company is a fraud, and it's a Chinese company, because we know we went through the Luckin Coffee thing, we've went through multiple things, and obviously we know accounting regulations in China are much different than they are. They don't have the GAAP accounting principles over in China. So it really spooks the market when you start hearing about potential fraud. And that's why it absolutely got slaughtered on this, to the tune of giving back its entire summer gain in one day, 100 down to $70. It bounces. Predictably, the company's defending themselves and saying Muddy Waters is BSing all of this. We don't know what the true facts are there. It's not going to bounce all the way back, though, because now you've got investors nervous. Is Muddy Waters, uncovered something that, could potentially be a fraud?
I would just say this: Chinese companies and allegations of fraud. Name a more iconic duo. You can't. How many times have we seen this story before? A dozen, it feels like. Anyway, Joel,
it spooks investors
these are
big
tough.
time.
I mean, I wouldn't short this thing off that news, and I wouldn't go. I mean, it's just like there's certain things you can control in the market, your risk reward, the value, like things like this. It's just such a coin flip. I mean, I wouldn't short it on that. It would have been a great trade yesterday shorting it, but if you took it home overnight, you got jammed. I mean, these are, the company comes out and defends it. They're just tough things to trade. It's actually quieted down right now. So 85 seems to be where the Bulls and the Bears are squaring off. So I would just keep an eye on 85 today. But a lot of people stuck that A, were long in the first place, and B, tried to buy the dip yesterday. So I'm calling for an inside day in YY. How's that for some technical analysis?
Everybody wants Palantir.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said it 2 days ago. I think it was
Going to
stock was
20.
around 17 and change. I was like, it's breaking out. I think it goes a lot higher. I didn't change my tune here in one day. I think you buy pullbacks in PLTR. I think the stock's going to be significantly higher because the story is just starting to cook. It's starting to get it's went 11 to 18. So you're chasing it a bit here, but I think the stock's going over 20 in the near future. there's a U.S. Army contract that's the catalyst here today, but this story is just hot still. So until you get that ugly candle, I mean, there's a lot of momentum traders that are piling in here right now, and Robinhood gets a hold of this thing, and maybe they already have because the stock trades so much. But it's hard to fight the tape on this one. So knowing nothing about the fundamentals of the company, I just say it's a new IPO, and Robinhood's kind of got a hold of it right now. So I think it could continue to go.
All right, S&P's just hanging out mid-range here at 902. Spencer, you want to cover any more, or you want to wrap things
let's
up
just
for
do
today?
one. Let's just do one or two more. I saw a few people mention DraftKings, so let's mention that one real fast. That one's starting to.
Starting to heat up again?
Story is hot here again. I screwed this one up. I bought it too soon at 41, and then I took some heat on it, and it bounced back, and then I traded it in for Penn, which Penn's done okay. I wish I owned them both, though. So I'm still long Penn. I'm still long LCA. I think LCA is going to be the play, by the way. This is going to, they got another contract in Illinois here today. This is going to be Golden Nugget Gaming. I think when they eventually do complete the merger, and I don't know if we have a projected date for that or if they even tell you, but when they eventually complete the merger, I think Golden Nugget Gaming is going, which is going to be LCA, is going to be a storied stock that Robinhood could even grab a hold of. So I'm still long LCA. I'm still long Penn Gaming. I wish I was still long DraftKings.
I'm trying to get this $50 area. Whoo! Look at that. That's halfway. That was a big old decline, getting halfway back. And you know what other number is going to stick out to me in this one? 52. Because that was the offering price. So you're getting half back of the move, maybe consolidate here, hold on for a couple days, and then maybe some people, 52 still a relevant number, but nice bounce back here in DraftKings, trading up $1.27 in the pre-market. I'm sure a lot of swing traders and stuff that maybe got caught in this, or little momentum traders. Let's say $50. I'll use that as a target, but there's really nothing on the daily charts. The next major technical level for me is right around that 52 area. Before it broke down, you had 3 consecutive high. Oh, yeah, a lot of congestion there. 4 consecutive highs from 51.70 to 52.52. Yep, just throw 52. The
online sports betting story is not going away anytime soon. And football, we only have one sport really on right now, which is football, but NBA has got a projected date coming here. NHL is coming back. We will get a Major League Baseball season next year. I mean, sports are going to be coming back hard here, especially if we get the vaccine. Like, just anticipate a year from now, if we're all vaccinated, we're all going back to normal. People will be hungry for sports. They'll be hungry for everything. You could really see how this story could really get hot. I mean, the alternative is this is a reopening play. Penn Gaming, DraftKings are not lockdown stocks. These are reopening stocks to a certain extent, in my opinion, because if you start to lose sports, these things start to go down. Obviously, if we got to go to lockdown, COVID takes over, and they start canceling, sporting events, that's going to slam these stocks. So these stocks want a reopening. They are grouped in the reopening stocks. At least I have them grouped in the reopening stocks, even though they're trading like storied stocks as well. But I just see a lot of catalysts here going forward for all 3 of those companies.
You know what's another, and I don't know how much wagering will be done on it, but we have a potentially and hopefully a huge sports catalyst coming in the middle of the summer in 2021.
Hopefully we got the Olympics.
Yeah.
I'm crossing my fingers on that one.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
if the Olympics
That chatter will start soon too.
Yep.
And that will be a really good indication of where we're at, with this virus, because you're bringing people together from all over the world, huh? I don't know. Is Detroit a major sports city? Not right now. I mean, we love our sports, but man, everything's in the doghouse in the Motor City.
All right, that'll be a wrap for us today. It was a fun show. It was an eventful show. We want to thank all of the participants and all of our chats on Benzinga Pro, on Benzinga.com, and of course on YouTube. We appreciate all the super chat comments on YouTube as well. You can always send us an email, premarket@benzinga.com, with any questions, comments, or concerns. Hit that like button. Show us some love. We appreciate the likes, the subscribes, all of it. Thanks to Brent Slava for joining us today. We haven't spoken to Brent in quite some time. It was good to hear his voice. He had some great insights, especially around the S&P Global announcement page. So thanks to Brent for that. You can catch a replay of this show on YouTube or also on every major podcast platform. And please remember that all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes, not for investing or trading advice.
One more thing, too.
One more
Please,
thing.
no one tell Lisa that I got up and left the show because she'll say I'm acting like a big baby.
We won't tell Lisa. And we also won't tell Lisa the real reason was you had to go to the bathroom, but that's okay. All right, everyone, have a good rest of your day. We'll see you. Oh, also the SPAC show at 11 o'clock. We're going to be talking the SPACs that were discussed on today's show. So the SPAC show at 11. That'll be it for us. We'll talk to you later in the day. Everyone, good luck.